I need to warn you before we start. This story is different from the others I've covered. It's not about a stranger, not about someone who broke into a home or attacked in the dark. This is about something far more disturbing. Because the person who committed this crime was supposed to be the one person in the world who would never, ever cause harm. What I'm about to tell you happened in November 2025 in Tamil Nadu, India. And when the truth came out, it didn't just shock a village or a district, it shook an entire nation. Because this story forces us to ask a question most of us never want to consider. What happens when the bond we consider most sacred becomes the weapon itself? This is about a mother, a baby, and a secret that was hidden inside a mobile phone. Stay with me, but be prepared, because this one stays with you. November 2nd, 2025, Krishnagiri district, Tamil Nadu, India. If you've never been to this part of India, imagine dense forests, quiet backwaters, small villages where everyone knows everyone, the kind of place where news travels fast and secrets are hard to keep. It was a normal morning. People were going about their daily routines. And then, at exactly 11:38 a.m., something happened that would shatter that normalcy forever. A woman came running into Kalamangalam Hospital. She was barefoot, her hair loose and wild. Her breathing was so erratic that staff thought she might collapse right there in the entrance. In her hands, she clutched something wrapped in a green towel. Her name was Parathi. She was 27 years old, and inside that towel was her 5-month-old baby boy, Duvam. He wasn't moving. Parathi was screaming for help, her voice breaking with panic. Nurses rushed over. When they pulled back the towel, their faces changed. The baby was completely still. No crying, no movement, no breath. They grabbed him and ran to the emergency room. The race against time. Doctors swarmed around the tiny body, checking vitals, starting CPR. The room filled with urgent commands and the sound of medical equipment. But even as they worked, some of them could already see it was too late. While the medical team fought to revive the child, junior staff took Parathi aside to get her story. Her words came out in broken fragments, punctuated by sobs. She said the baby had been crying loudly that morning. She thought he was hungry, so she picked him up and fed him. He drank quickly, she said, almost desperately. His breathing was hard. He was gripping her sari so tightly. She thought he was just very hungry. That's all. Just hungry. After feeding, he became quiet. She assumed he'd fallen asleep. But then she noticed something was wrong. His chest wasn't moving. His little body had gone stiff. She tried everything, tapped his back, rubbed his chest, shook him gently, then more frantically. Nothing worked. So she ran, barefoot through the streets, clutching her baby, begging God with every step to let him be okay. Outside the emergency room, Parathi collapsed. Her husband, Suresh, stood beside her, trying to hold her up, trying to keep himself together. Inside, the doctors were losing their battle. The baby was declared dead. The first red flag. As the family wailed in grief, one of the senior doctors pulled his colleagues aside. He said something that would prove to be crucial. This does not look like a natural death. We suspect foul play. We must inform the police. Think about that for a moment. This doctor, who probably seen hundreds of infant deaths, saw something in this case that didn't add up. Immediately, Suresh objected, loudly. Please don't do this. We are already broken. Just give our baby back. But hospitals have protocols. The police were called. When they arrived, they explained that in suspicious deaths, a post-mortem examination is required by law. Suresh refused again, more forcefully this time. He insisted it was a natural death, just a tragic accident. Babies die sometimes. These things happen. He begged them not to take his son's body. The doctors, perhaps moved by the family's grief, eventually backed down. No post-mortem was performed. The baby was taken home and buried in the family's garden that same day. But two questions hung in the air, unspoken but persistent. Why was the doctor so certain something was wrong? And why was the father so desperate to avoid an investigation? The marriage. Let me take you back to 2018. Suresh and Parathi had an arranged marriage. It's common in India, especially in traditional families. Parents find matches, arrange meetings, and if everyone agrees, the wedding happens quickly. Parathi was 19 years old, still practically a teenager. Suresh was 31. After the wedding, Parathi moved into her husband's family home, as is customary. She adjusted to her new life, her new family, her new responsibilities. Suresh worked in farming and took daily wage jobs when he could find them. Money was tight, but they managed. They had 2 daughters in the following years, but Suresh wanted a son. Not just wanted, desperately needed, in the way some men in traditional cultures do. Sons carry the family name. Sons perform last rites. Sons are seen as security for old age. Suresh prayed every day for a son. He performed religious rituals. He made a vow to his family temple. If a boy was born, he would donate 1 lakh rupees to the temple. 1 lakh rupees. That's about $1,200 US. For a poor farmer, that's an enormous sum. But Suresh was serious. He started saving every rupee he could. And then, finally, Parathi became pregnant again. This time, she gave birth to a baby boy. They named him Duvam. The house filled with celebration. Relatives came to visit. Suresh fulfilled his vow, handing over the 1 lakh rupees he'd saved. Everything seemed perfect. The family was complete. Until November 2nd, 2025. The strange afternoon. A few days after the burial, something deeply unsettling happened. Suresh came home from working in the fields one afternoon. The house was locked from the inside. Parathi's bicycle was there, so he knew she was home. But when he called out, she didn't answer. Then he heard sounds from inside. Soft at first, then louder. Laughter. A woman's laughter. Loud, almost carefree. Suresh stood frozen outside his own house. His baby son had died days ago. His wife should be drowning in grief. Instead, she was laughing. He went to the window and looked in. The room was dark, but he could make out shapes. Parathi appeared to be unclothed. His first thought was that another man was inside. Panic and rage flooded through him. He started banging on the door, demanding she open. Parathi's voice came through calmly. "I'm coming, just wait." When she finally opened the door, there was no man inside. Instead, standing there was Sumitra, a young woman from the house next door, a college student, someone Parathi had known for years. Parathi explained she was just trying on a new sari and wanted Sumitra's opinion. That's why she was undressed, that's why they were laughing. Just 2 women having a normal moment. Suresh wanted to believe her. He needed to believe her. So he did. For a few more days at least. The discovery. While cleaning the bedroom a week later, Suresh found something hidden in a small box tucked away in a corner. A mobile phone wrapped in cloth. He'd never seen this phone. They only had one phone in the house, the one they shared. He turned it on, and his entire world collapsed. Messages, photos, videos, conversations stretching back months, maybe years. Parathi was in a relationship, a secret, intense relationship. Not with a man, with a woman. With Sumitra, the woman from the house next door, the college student who'd been in their house that afternoon. Suresh's hands were shaking as he scrolled through the messages. The level of intimacy, the declarations of love, the plans they made together. And then he saw a message that made his blood cold. He'd written, "Just like you told me, I killed my son. Now do you believe my love?" Suresh read it again and again, trying to make it say something different, trying to find another interpretation. But there was only one way to read those words. His wife had murdered her baby to prove her love to another woman. The confrontation. Suresh confronted Parathi immediately. She didn't deny it, didn't try to explain it away. She simply ran, disappeared into the village, perhaps to Sumitra's house, maybe somewhere else. Suresh gathered the villagers. He showed them the phone, told them everything. The village erupted. People remembered the day the baby died, how Suresh had refused the post-mortem. Now they understood why. "I trust
my wife," Suresh told them, his voice breaking. "That's why I stopped the investigation. I believed her when she said it was an accident. I thought I was protecting my family from more pain." But now he wanted the truth. He wanted justice. Parathi called him, begging, "I made a mistake. Beat me if you want. Punish me however you want. But please, please don't go to the police." Suresh went straight to the police station. The investigation. The police acted quickly. They obtained the hidden phone, read the messages, saw the evidence. They exhumed the baby's body from the garden where he'd been buried days earlier. The post-mortem that should have been done immediately was finally performed. The results came back unambiguous: death by suffocation. This was not milk aspiration, not a tragic accident, not sudden infant death syndrome. This was murder. The full story. During questioning, the complete picture emerged. Parathi and Sumitra had known each other for years. They lived next door, saw each other constantly, and somewhere along the way, their friendship became something more. They fell in love. But in a small village in Tamil Nadu, two women in a romantic relationship is not just taboo, it's dangerous. Families can turn violent, communities can ostracize, lives can be destroyed. So they made a plan. They would live two lives, a public life where they played their assigned roles, dutiful wife, obedient daughter, good neighbor, and a private life where they were together, truly together, in the moments they could steal. Marriage to Suresh wasn't real to Parathi. It was a cover, a performance. Her real life was with Sumitra. But then the baby boy was born, and everything became more complicated. Parathi was exhausted from caring for 3 children, depressed, overwhelmed. She had less time for Sumitra, less energy, less freedom. Sumitra grew insecure, jealous. She accused Parathi of loving her children more than she loved her. The arguments escalated, until finally she gave her an ultimatum. "If you truly love me, prove it. Kill your baby." Was it meant seriously? Was it a test Sumitra thought Parathi would fail, thus proving she wasn't fully committed? We may never know. But on November 2nd, when the house was empty, when Suresh was out working, when no one was watching, Parathi picked up her 5-month-old son, and she smothered him, held something over his tiny face until he stopped breathing. Then she wrapped him in a green towel and ran to the hospital, creating the performance of a panicked mother discovering her baby had stopped breathing. The aftermath. The case exploded across Tamil Nadu and beyond. A mother murdering her infant son to prove love to her secret partner. It touched on everything society finds disturbing: forbidden relationships, betrayal of motherhood, the hidden lives people live behind closed doors. Parathi was arrested, so was Sumitra. The legal process is ongoing, but for Suresh, there is no process that can bring healing. He lost his son, the child he'd prayed for, saved for, celebrated, murdered by the woman he'd trusted completely. And he has to live with the knowledge that if he hadn't refused that post-mortem, maybe justice would have been immediate instead of delayed. His 2 daughters have lost their brother and their mother. They'll grow up with this story hanging over them. The village will never forget. Parathi's family will carry this shame, Sumitra family too. And somewhere in all of this, there's a 5-month-old baby boy who never got to grow up, never got to take his first steps, or say his first words, or become whoever he might have been. His name was Duvam, and he deserved so much better than this. I've covered a lot of cases on this channel: serial killers, family annihilators, crimes of passion, and crimes of calculation. But this one is different because it forces us to confront something we don't want to acknowledge: that love itself can become toxic, that relationships, even genuine ones, can turn destructive when they're built on secrets and desperation. I'm not here to judge Parathi and Sumitra's relationship. In a more accepting society, maybe they could have lived openly, maybe they could have found happiness without needing to hide. But the moment that relationship demanded the life of an innocent child, it stopped being about love and became about something much darker. There are millions of women in this world who pray every day to become mothers, who would give anything for that chance, who suffer through infertility treatments and heartbreak and loss. And here was a woman who had that gift, who held her baby in her arms, who could have chosen differently, but didn't. This story doesn't have a lesson or a moral. It's just a tragedy, a reminder that behind closed doors, in quiet villages, in homes that look normal from the outside, unimaginable things can happen. And sometimes the people we trust most are the ones capable of the worst. If this story affected you, if it made you think, leave a comment below. Share your thoughts. Tell me how cases like this should be covered, how we should talk about them, what conversations they should start. Because the only way we process tragedies like this is together, by talking about them, by refusing to look away. Duvam's life mattered. His death matters, and making sure we don't forget him matters. Thank you for watching.